Could you just confirm, and I just appreciate a yes or a no, that you met with the former KGB officer Alexander Lebedev when you were Foreign Secretary without officials on the 28th of April 2018?
Well, I'd have to check, but
are you having a lapse of memory again?
No, but that sounds. But if you're asking me a very specific question about a very specific date.
Prime Minister, I mean, you said you met him without officials. Was that presumably was when you were Mayor of London? When you were Foreign Secretary, did you meet Alexander Lebedev?
I think I probably
officials?
did,
Probably did.
As I said, I would need to check.
You used to regularly meeting him. I mean, is it probably because you meet him often, or probably because you can't remember?
I've met him on a very few occasions.
As Foreign Secretary.
On the occasion you're mentioning, if that was when I was Foreign Secretary, then yes.
Without officials?
Yes, I mean, that makes sense.
Did you report
yes.
to your officials that you had met him?
I think I did mention it, yes.
And where did you meet him?
I met him in Italy, as it happens, but I really, I forget.
Boris Johnson and the Russian connection.
Salisbury was the first use of a chemical weapon in Europe since World War II. It was an attack on NATO soil. And as the minister responsible for overseeing the British response, our now Prime Minister went straight from a classified meeting with the NATO Secretary General and alliance partners to meet with a trained Russian intelligence officer. That is surely a security breach of the highest possible order. As the news about Ukraine darkens even further, increasingly we think the unthinkable. Would Putin, for example, use chemical weapons? And the answer has to be yes, because he's already done it here on UK soil in 2018. The Salisbury nerve agent attack was part of Putin's long-term strategy, message and hybrid warfare. The amount of nerve agent found in the bottle that was used against the Skripals and which killed 𝗕𝗘𝗓𝗏𝗧𝗏 was enough to kill several thousand people, according to a recent interview with Fiona Hill, a former US National Security Advisor on Russia. Putin wanted us to know that he is prepared to use any weapon. And when he sent a weapons-grade nerve agent to Salisbury, that was a military operation and seen as an attack on NATO. Now, as a result, there was far-reaching international cooperation, including sanctions, and our then Foreign Secretary and now Prime Minister met NATO foreign ministers in Brussels for a crucial, highly sensitive meeting about Russia in the wake of that chemical attack on UK soil. But what we have since learned is the shocking news that immediately following that meeting, the Foreign Secretary ditched his security and travelled directly to the Italian villa of Evgeny Lebedev, the person with the life peerage who is now under so much scrutiny, the person who, as long ago as a decade ago, Sir John Sawyers, as head of MI6, was making clear was not deemed a suitable person to meet. And whilst he was there, the Prime Minister also met Evgeny's father, ex-KGB agent and oligarch Alexander Lebedev. Now, this raises crucial questions. Did the then Foreign Secretary inform the Prime Minister, the FCO and the security services that he was going to fly from the NATO summit to meet an ex-KGB agent? And if so, why was he travelling alone without his security detail? Did he take classified documents with him? Did he inform the Prime Minister, the security services, about the meeting after the trip? Was he debriefed? Did he provide a list of contacts? Let me be very clear. Salisbury was the first use of a chemical weapon in Europe since World War II. It was an attack on NATO soil. And as the minister responsible for overseeing the British response, our now Prime Minister went straight from a classified meeting with the NATO Secretary General and alliance partners to meet with a trained Russian intelligence officer. That is surely a security breach of the highest possible order. And that is why investigating this, investigating the Russia report, and indeed every part of Putin's arsenal, how he and those linked to him have created dependence and compromise via sports and finance and property and land and urgent, is so very urgent. I say this not to score points. I say it because undermining democracy in the US and Europe has been part of Putin's strategy to divide and confuse the world as he prepared to attack Ukraine.